welcome to another episode of Three Ways to Say It. I'm your host, Todd Carter.
And this your boy KC, the best, better than the rest, and it's March. My birthday this month. And don't have long. Yeah.
Wait. And hello everyone. I am Ashley.
All right. So today we have a great episode for you guys. We are going to talk about narcissists. So recently I had the not pleasure of dealing with a narcissist. So that's our reason for this conversation today. So guys, let me just kind of tell y'all, for you guys that don't know about narcissism or narcissists or people with toxic behavior, I do want to give you just a little bit of education about narcissism. Basically, what a narcissist is that a person who is excessively interested in the admiration of themselves. So it's kind of like a person who is self-centered. They only think about themselves. They feel that the world revolves around them. And these can be anybody. You can have a coworker that have these traits or behaviors. It can be a parent, a sibling, just anyone. They do have what they call a narcissistic personality disorder. Now, that's something where you will have to be diagnosed by a doctor. You will have to probably go through some series of tests to, really do that. But for the most part, it's just something where you can just kind of pick up on some of these type of behaviors. It has different levels to them, and we'll go through some of that today. So have you guys had any experience with the narcissist yourself?
Hey, which way you want to go first? Okay.
No, not that I can think of right off the bat. So yeah, right now I'll just say no. Maybe once we get deep into the topic, I probably could think of someone, but right now, no.
Okay.
I haven't dealt closely with anybody that I feel like would, be a narcissist. But yeah, like you say, when we get deep into the definition, then I'll probably be able to say, okay, yeah, they like that. So yeah.
Right. And so as I was starting to research this topic for our podcast, I discovered that, well, for one thing, now, the behaviors, we all have a little bit of narcissism in us. That's just how you feel about yourself or how you get things done. So it's not all bad, in terms of, I'm sure that we can kind of relate, but I think it's bad when you say, like, if they say 13 signs of being a narcissist and you 11, yeah, that's pretty bad.
All right.
So, and nobody wants to be that. So what I can say is from my brief experience with that is that it's draining. It's a person that's very controlling. Most of the time it's a person who have had some type of trauma in their childhood, and they just haven't been able to, address it. And so in turn, I'm assuming they just feel some type of way about themselves. I have a big personality. So one of the things that I did in terms of our research is that I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't one, because I know I can deal with narcissistic behavior. Again, it can be anyone. And sometimes I think people don't even know when they are, so it may not, I think it could be something that they have done for so long that no one has checked them on it, or they just don't know that they're doing it. But then I think some people actually really know. But recently I have found it to be a lot of things on Instagram, on YouTube. A lot of people talk about this subject. So it is a really big thing. Devon Franklin was just talking about how, when you're trying to date out here, you have to be careful because there's a lot of narcissism going on out here in the world. So I just think that people need to know the signs so that they're not affected, because it's one of these things that is very draining. And it's something that, believe it or not, when you get caught up into a situation like that, it's very hard to come out of it, because it's kind of like a trauma bond. It can be, that person is very manipulative. So it's just very unhealthy, very, very, and very toxic. So,
and then again, you know, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ken. Say.
No, I was just going to say, you know, even though I haven't had any experience, I think we see it all the time. You know, even I think it kind of trickles down. So it starts with people in power. We of course have encountered people in power who are narcissists, where they only think about themselves. They don't think about the other people around them. They make decisions based off how to affect them. They don't think about how to affect others. So I think is that we see people. I think the reason I haven't experienced because these people who I feel like are there, I probably stay away from them. So that's probably why I feel like I don't have as much experience with it than you may have or somebody have. So that's why I know I probably haven't had as much experience with it.
Well, this is my first experience. Well, let me just say this. As I was reading some of the traits and stuff, so I'm not going to say that I think all narcissists are bad or, you know, unloving and things. Start to read the symptoms, and then you'll just say to yourself, in Casey, you know, because I'm in self-discovery. I'm just trying to relate everything to whatever. I just want to put that out there too, because I'm sure this is something that's very common. Because when I'm looking on the internet, it's like a lot of people show these type of behaviors.
Yeah. And I think I think it's similar to those things where, like, for example, like when people are diagnosed with bipolar disorder, on another level, people probably just be like, you know, they going through this, or they mood just be changing and stuff. You really never know what the diagnosis is until you look into it. Like people just, you know, we always just think it's just character traits and stuff like that. You never know until you look up the stuff and see what it actually is. So that's probably why, you know, you don't know until you get actual context or, you know, do actual research on it anyway. So, yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the things that I read and I noticed that a lot of times these people are very attractive. And so when they are very attractive, that's pretty much all that they have. So they to be self-centered because they're using what they have, which is their good looks and then their charm. And so that can be very manipulative, you know. So I think they have this entitlement. It's one of the things that I read. It's just selfishness. Just thinking only about them. I do know that they don't do a lot of gift giving. They are low on empathy, even though they can serve in all type of careers. They can still have low empathy. They're just, it's so many, it gets kind of confusing, but you got people that have a real high level of it. And then you have people that just, you know, display some low levels of it. So it's just, I guess it just depends on the individual, but it's a big thing right now.
So, I wonder if, because it made me think about the workplace, and you said that narcissists tend to be attractive, right? So now I'm thinking about, you know, women. So I would say in the workplace, I think, not saying that what I tend to see, but what I have seen, well, I guess it would be tendency. Can you cut that out right there?
Yeah.
But narcissists be a female too who uses their good looks in the workplace to get what they want. Because, you know, we do tend to see like that little
like Todd said, like you do see it a lot of those narcissists where they are quote unquote attractive, you know, or they feel like they're attractive because they use that, you know, like they are sucked into that power use, and it's a power struggle for everything. So they use whatever they have to gain power with somebody, or to make it seem like they're hiding somebody, or, you know, just them being attractive. Of course, they probably in love with themselves too. You know, all they do is think about themselves. So they use that to, like, say, manipulate, and that's what you said. Like, it be cases like that where once it doesn't work, then it becomes something worse, or that's when they lose their mind. Yeah, that's like, when they start acting crazy. Yeah, that when they
and I've seen it. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was
and I can say this, but I've seen it in men and women in the workplace, because men use their looks too in the workplace to try to get what they want. And I think that's where my hard part is, trying to distinguish between a narcissist and a toxic person. So is it a narcissist or this is just a toxic person?
Well,
but
we're on like narcissists, but I can see what the difference is. I know that with the narcissist, they have that inflated ego. They have need for attention. As I said earlier, they have lack of empathy, few boundaries, repressed insecurities. I've experienced this. It's like a lack of responsibility. So they do a lot of blaming and a lot of deflecting. So if you ever, get into these type of, situations with a person when you're confronting them and they're doing a lot of deflecting, then you got to understand that this is a person that's, showing signs of narcissism. And then a lot of it, and basically it's just kind of like a game. So basically what they also have too is they have what you call a supply. So once, and a lot of it's about just that temporary feeling, like they're looking for happiness. And I think they really do want to be loved, but what they're doing is that they're not looking for anything. The things that I was reading is that a lot of it's not really looking for long term, because you have to think about it. Ain't nobody really going to want to put up with that. Usually those relationships, I think they last anywhere from like 6 months to a year. I guess when the person has a lot of like showing a lot of signs of it, it's like you really can't handle that day to day mental. It's mental abuse. So
and like you said about the deflecting, I read that too. Like, well, a lot of narcissists, they do a lot of the like run into the victim, or they pull the victim card a lot because their ego is so big, they feel like they're not wrong in no situation.
Right.
You can't tell them they did something wrong. Like you say, deflecting,
no
getting an argument with them.
Nothing.
Yeah. None of that, like they ain't did nothing wrong. You can't tell them they did nothing wrong. They right in everything. And there's no accountability, like you said, no responsibility. So I think that does make up probably the most part of it. It's probably that's why it's hard to communicate with them, hard to really be as close with them. And that's why it becomes irritating to deal with somebody like that. So yeah.
Because also too, you don't know if they're ever telling the truth. It'll also make you question whether or not the relationship or whatever it is, the friendship or whatever it is real. Because you got to understand that when a person has like high levels of it, me personally, I'm just going to question everything about that person. I mean, I'm not going to be able to, kind of believe what they're saying because it's like a game. They have what they call supply. And so as soon as somebody's not acting up, it's like they always have somebody else that they can grab. They got to make sure they have supply because, they always have to have your attention, your affection, and they will discard you, for no reason. Some of the signs of what they'll do is they'll do that pull and push, whereas they will go cold. Everything could be fine, but then the next thing you know, you haven't heard from them in, say, a week or 2 weeks. That's what they do. They kind of disappear so they can come back and make you want them. So it's kind of like you're scrambling, trying to figure out what did I do? And you're all angry because you're thinking everything was fine, but then they disappear. That's part of how it's like a science for them. That's part of how they hook you and into feeling some type of way. But everything is going to be pushed back onto you. And like if you do something, they're going to be like, but you made me do it, so it's a lot of deflecting and just mental games where you would definitely grow tired of. So it can be very exhausting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I did a little research because I really did want to know the difference between a toxic person and a narcissist, because it really is a fine line. Like a narcissist can be toxic, but it doesn't necessarily mean a toxic person is a narcissist.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for
that. An advocate for the narcissistic abuse victim said that a toxic person will attack certain things about you, like your body image, your sexuality, even the people around you. So usually they're attacking like your friends. Why you hang around them? I don't want you around them. All that, and granted, a narcissist can be there too, but usually, I guess for them, that's a toxic person.
Mm-hmm.
And their definition or traits, of a narcissistic person, like they will attack everything about you. So toxic is certain things about you. Narcissist is everything about you.
Mm-hmm.
They will shred you and rip you down to your soul. They will never allow you to feel good about yourself. And this will lead to dependence on them for sense of self. Sorry, take that out. But yes, it will lead to utter dependence on the narcissist for any type of sense of self. So I think that's the important part where I just want to draw that line. Like, what is the difference between the toxic person and the narcissist person? Like, just because this person didn't call me a week ago, oh my God, he's a narcissist. Like, no, that doesn't necessarily make him a narcissist. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. So it's a difference between toxic and toxic and narcissist. So
yeah, and I think it's more common for somebody to be toxic, than because I feel like a narcissist is somebody you see there's no good. Well, I ain't gonna say there's no good in them, but you never have seen that good in them. Like they always got their ego. You could tell there's no way to change them, and that's why they diagnose that way. But when you're somebody that's toxic, just those toxic traits take over on that good, but you still know it's good. That good is there. They just had that toxic back and forth. This back and forth. Like 1 minute they good, 1 minute they bad. A narcissist, you're not gonna see that good side. So I think it's more common for somebody to be toxic.
Because you asked if we dated anyone that was a narcissist, and to answer your question, no, probably. But I have dated some toxic people.
Yeah, I'm about to say Now I've talked to toxic. Yeah, toxic is there.
Woo.
I'm saying it's hard to get away from toxic. I ain't gonna lie. It's people with no good intention that we talking you good for a week. The next week we ain't good. You ain't giving no information. Right. Yeah, we went on a date Saturday, Monday. I ain't like we arguing about something. Like, it just that toxic. I think is way more common, and it's definitely common today. Now, narcissists, that's some people
it's preferred today. They love these.
Yeah, people love toxic.
Not me though, but
I like to say I ain't care about
it's a trend for these toxic relationships. Yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah, but I think it is way more common to see like a toxic person or somebody with very toxic traits that can probably be seen as a narcissist, but they really just toxic. So because it's out there. I'm sorry, it's hard to find somebody that ain't toxic. Even the good folks toxic. Everybody toxic.
I think all of us have those few toxic traits. Yes.
Yeah.
I just had to wonder. Like my mind was. I'm like, okay, everybody isn't a narcissist. What is that other word? I'm like, what is that word?
Yeah.
So I looked. I'm like, oh yeah, toxic. Duh.
Yeah.
Like, So
and that's what I said. Like, and I feel like we all had it. Like, not saying, of course, we ain't like 100%. We ain't got to be 70% toxic, but we all had that like one toxic thing that we do. I mean, it's kind of hard to knock it. At least we acknowledge it, but we all had it like, that little toxic stuff we do. It's better if we work on it. For those people who don't work on it, it's probably easier to look at them as bad because if you toxic and you ain't changing it, you just doing it on purpose. But I think we all have like that one toxic thing or some toxic traits that is hard for us to knock. And it's just part of us, like, we ain't perfect, anybody's perfect.
And get out of those toxic relationships.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing cool about a toxic relationship.
Yeah. Especially one where they ain't working on it. It ain't gonna get no better. It's going down.
It's one thing if they're working on it, but no.
Okay, so I would just say then, when I'm reading and I'm looking at certain things, it just seems like it's more, well, in my situation, it seems like it's more as opposed to toxic. But I do value what y'all say because usually, y'all be my voice of reason when I just be like, then y'all can. I'm just going to retract my first opening statement and let me just say that the person ain't narcissist. The person is toxic.
Toxic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Toxic.
that's how
Yeah.
they're toxic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Toxic. Oh
because
yeah.
narcissist, like calling someone a narcissist, that's kind of
I'm this close
heavy in
to
the sense,
saying
like
Yeah.
it's serious, like
It is.
when I say
Yeah.
you're a
Like they
narcissist,
have.
it's like, or someone called me a narcissist, I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, really?
I don't
Wow,
have
it
nothing
could be true
good.
or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
toxic, I feel like you can really work on it. Now,
Yeah.
narcissist is something deep. I don't know. It just feel
Yeah.
like
It's like you
it's
just ain't got
deep.
nothing good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That
but I
toxic
no
think
good
now.
trait.
y'all being very nice, but again, y'all have not done who has been like this. So even if a person is toxic and I'm reading things and you like 11 of the 13, that's so
I mean, then
sign.
yeah, you're a
I mean, yeah.
narcissist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
Yeah,
not
11
like
out,
everything nice. I think we're just saying like you can't just say
yeah.
someone
Like
is
some
a
people are toxic.
narcissist
Yeah.
because they didn't do this or they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Is I think
Eh,
the way you went by it, or it's just so much more into it
Yeah.
than.
And,
okay, so for the sake of argument, I'm being
Mhm.
right
You
now.
know, I love a good argument.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's just go for some narcissistic signs in a man.
Go ahead, because I got a
Okay.
rebuttal.
Okay,
I'm just playing. I'm ready.
go to 9 signs you're dating a narcissist and how to get out. Well, I don't want to, I mean, I know how to get out. Goodbye to you.
Yeah.
Bye to you. So,
But even if you date them, right? Depending on how long you date them, do you think some of you take some of that with you to possibly take that to another relationship, maybe?
Yeah.
Because again, there's most narcissists are shredding you down to the bone,
Hmm.
making you feel way less,
Yeah.
less
I
of a
would say,
person.
I think we all pick up little habits that people do, and you'll find yourself doing it, whether it's bad or not. But I will say this is that, yeah, you're going to pick up something, but I don't think you have to necessarily pick up all these toxic traits that a person have and start treating somebody else. But I think if you were to,
Thinking that like if I date a narcissist, God forbid, and we dated for about 2 years, a year or so, and I think what I'm trying to ask is, should I get help after that? Because
oh,
I
definitely,
may,
yeah,
Yeah.
they do recommend it if you're
because I
that
can't take this
person.
into another
Yeah. Because it's
relationship.
so damaging. It's so damaging.
Yeah.
Dealing with one. Yeah.
If you're dating a real narcissist, and especially if they've been diagnosed with being a narcissist, then you definitely want to get some help. And then that person want to get some help too, because there are some guys out there on the internet that talks about narcissism all the time, and they have gotten help. One of the people is Leon R. Walker, and he comes out and talk about, I've learned a lot of information from him. So shout out to Leon. He went into therapy, not by choice, but because I think he said that he was going out of the service and he had to take these evaluations. And that's when he really serious. He was on the couch and I guess he just couldn't hide anymore because they had to really get into him. And so he was able to change his behavior. So I do know that you can get help from it. But that's only if you're two. So, but still, I would say this. It's new to me, but I don't ever want to date, be friends with, or just have that day to day with narcissists, because that is just too draining.
Yeah. It is. It's not desirable at all. Yeah.
I
It's
want
not.
it's that lack of empathy is just one thing. I mean, and that's something that we're going to talk in part, the second half of our discussion today, is how you're able to set boundaries, when you are dating, so that you can avoid people like this. And I think when you do set up boundaries, it'll help you to weed out people that has behavior issues.
And I'm actually glad that we talking about this today anyway, because being the male, narcissism is actually tied to males, men. When you think of narcissists, you see men first. You don't really see. I mean, female. We had that logical thinking of like, well, let's be fair. Women do it too, but it's definitely tied to men. And I think, I guess my purpose today is to let you know that I will just put out there that all men are not like that. I think it's a lot of where we are challenged with manhood, being manly and being like dominant and stuff, and it could be taken to that point. And that's why I said it's a lot of that toxic stuff, toxic masculinity and stuff like that. Thinking you got to be in power of this, but I don't think. I mean, but for some people, I don't think they're narcissists. But and since I'm here as a man, I will say that I see a lot of. I did a lot of research too, but it's a lot of women that are like that. And it's easier, and let me tell you why it's easier for a woman that's a narcissist to kind of hide in the crowd. It's because if you think about it, women who get their power or who are seen as in some type of power are more praised for their actions than if a man do it. It's kind of looked at more in a negative light if a man do some of those things, because it's good to see like a woman take the power back, if you see her like being able to manage this person, talk this person crazy, using this, it's kind of praised that way. Like, oh, she did that. She did that. Oh, look at her in control of this. But see, if it's flipped to the other side, that man is nowhere near good, in the eyes of people. So I think that's why it's not as talked about as much for women being it. But yeah, as that man today, I had to go on here and just let it out a little bit. I had to do that. I can't defend us too much. Like I can defend us a little bit.
Well, that's true. Like we talked about earlier, women tend to use, our body, the way we look, because we know that in a way can attract a man to us to get what we want. And we really have to be careful about that. So I'm just gonna make that clear. But I agree with you though. I guess if we look at it deeper, we wouldn't look at it like that because it is like, okay, that's what a woman does, but do woman does. Woman is does, right?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Take that out. But yeah, that's what a woman does. That's how it's viewed, like you said.
Yeah.
So,
and I want to add this last little part. When I was doing a little research, I'm just taking all over the top. I'm taking the stuff all over. But another thing I looked at, which is the part we don't really look at, is that it's a such thing as a healthy narcissist, and that's the point of someone who is able to fight insecurities and just is fully aware of themselves. They have high self-esteem, and those are the ones. That's a healthy narcissist. You're aware of. If you are this powerful person, you got this power. You're aware of it. You know what I'm saying? I know somebody else might look at like you bragging or you got this type of ego. But if you don't have no ill intent behind it, you're just aware of who you are. So there is a such thing.
Right. Oh wow! I actually did not know that. That is interesting. Yeah. Well, I know a lot of healthy narcissists. Let me stop.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I look deep into more.
Yeah, and I feel like we all.
I'm not gonna say that. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like we all had it. Like if we done did something, we know we confident in it. Our self-esteem it raised. You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna know. True. Like I'm gonna talk it. Like I did that, and like can't nobody tell me I didn't do it. I'm not listening to nothing else because that's just where my confidence is, and that could be seen as a narcissist. You can call it a narcissist as long as you put healthy in front of it. If it's not somebody who trying to take power of people and stuff, and they just had that high self-esteem and just confident in what they do and just know who they are. So there's a such thing as being healthy.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. We know examples of it. That we know the bad and we know the good. I feel like sometimes we want to look at it like that. We want to all put it in one bucket, but you kind of got to separate it and know that it is okay to have high self-esteem. It is okay to know that when you're doing something, can't nobody tell you did it wrong when you know you did it right. That's okay. That's confidence. And I always think that means you got a big ego. That means you just know what you did and you stand in it.
So wait, is it confidence or is it arrogance?
It's not arrogance. Arrogance is, that arrogance, I think, is with ill intent. I think arrogance is like, even if you did something wrong, you have no accountability to it. I think that confidence is, that's, you trying to make me, hold on. Because I can't fight. I can't fight against Google. Don't make me say something wrong.
I'm just wondering.
Let me talk about the perception of it. Then, in my eyes, arrogance is with ill intent. Like you arrogant. Like can't nobody tell you nothing, even when you're wrong. Confidence is you just confident in what you do. Confidence is like on that end of right before cocky. Like somebody can see confidence is cocky, but you're not doing it with ill intent. You're just confident. Because if you don't tell yourself,
I think that's the word that I meant to use: cocky versus arrogance. But yeah, cocky.
Yeah, I think it's more confident. The cocky kind of bad too. I don't know, but yeah,
but it's a fine line between cocky and confidence. It's a real fine line.
It really is. It really is, and it's hard to be confident without somebody calling you cocky. I mean, if you really pay attention to what people say, some people view people who overly confident or just confident as being cocky. When most of the time, some people just confident in what they do. They just stand down on what they do. You can't tell them that they ain't do it. I mean, but I think that's a good thing though. You want to have high self-esteem. You don't want nobody else to have to build your self-esteem for you. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe, now everybody gonna think I'm cocky. I ain't cocky. It sounds like I'm defending me. It sounds like I'm defending.
No, it doesn't. It's okay. It's okay, Pisces. It's okay. No, it doesn't sound like it.
Season.
It is Pisces season, exactly.
Shout out to mommy. My mommy, she's a Pisces. Oh, and Keontae, hey. And anyway. Full blown Pisces season. They live.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's all I have on the narcissist. Narcissists are bad. Let me just say this: narcissists are bad, but I don't want to put everybody in there because if there's no such thing as toxic, then we all are narcissists. So I think you got to make sure that toxic, realize that having toxic behavior does not mean everybody already narcissist. That's all I had to say. Yeah. And dudes, I'm not sticking up for you no more because I need it right then, but I'm not
real
doing it again. But it's okay though.
Welcome back to 3 Ways to Say It. So guys, we're just gonna change gears right here, and we're just gonna talk about boundaries, your standards, things that you kind of put into place so that you can avoid being in toxic relationships or, just kind of going forward as you're dating for all the single people out there like myself.
Me too.
I know, right? And guys, let me just say, today I am wearing, you see all this hair here? I am wearing winning wig by none other than our own Ashley.
Yes, it's a winning wig, and remember, winning is the only option. Okay.
Oh.
And this is also a winning wig. Okay.
Yes, girl.
Yes. Stop playing with them.
Y'all playing too much.
I was just thinking, okay, my natural hair, I'm just going to go with something. I wanted a little extra today, so I had to go ahead and win here.
Yeah.
All right, so, being silly with y'all. So I want to talk about me. I think I'm being a little toxic right here. But anyway, no, really. So some of the things that I've been thinking about as I go forward in my self-discovery. So as you know, I am celibate. That's one thing, but I feel that some of the boundaries that I want to put in place for myself is just really just taking it very, very, very slow. Listening to people is a couple little things that people are going to say now that it's just going to be automatically no for me. So I just want to say this to all the single ladies out here. If a guy says, hey, just want to see where it goes, let him go. Just tell him to go right on. That's one of those telltale signs that he just want to play. So that's the point.
Tell it like it is.
Huh?
I said, tell it like it is.
Right. That's number one. So if he says, oh, let's just go with the flow. Yeah. And also, ladies, if you are wanting to be married, just know that you're already a wife. If that's something that you desire, then you got to show up as a wife. You have to refer to yourself as a wife and not a girlfriend. So going forward, I don't want to be nobody's girlfriend because I'm already a wife. Okay. So a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. And so we don't have to become a wife. We're already a wife. So just know that going forward, you can pretty much know which way you want to go with that guy from just when he tell you what it is that he's looking for. So just be mindful and listen and ask questions and then ask more questions, but take this time to ask a lot of questions. So those are some of the other boundaries. Also too, one of the other things that I'm setting in place, I'm sorry, guys. So if anybody out there looking and you're liking how I'm looking in this winning wig and you decide that you want to step up to the plate, just know texting is not going to get it because you're not going to text me to life. Okay. I don't want to be text to life. So
I know. I
want a man to get on the phone. If he cannot get on the telephone, then how's he going to get to know me? Which means that I am not going to entertain any man who cannot pick up the telephone to have a conversation. So that's another one of my boundaries. If you want to text, you're going to text yourself because I'm not going to text you back. Or you're going to get no response, left on red. So ladies, just know everybody got time for that. No, I don't even want to work my fingers like that at work, let alone on the phone texting you all day. That's gonna be a no. Now, once you do establish something and you want to check in with your future husband, of course, if I'm working hard or whatever, and I just want to say, hey, future husband, or whatever it is, then yeah, we could do some texting then. But on that, no, that's another boundary for me. What about you, Miss Ashley?
Well, let me ask this. So more so like of a boundary would be you don't want that person texting you maybe after 11 asking to come over or for me to come over if we're just in this dating stage, And that's just a question I'm asking you.
Okay, so let me answer that question. So first of all, I don't want anybody calling me after 10 o'clock because I'm asleep. I have to get my rest. That's number one. I'm gonna put you on silence. That's but no, I don't want a person texting me, period. I don't want a man trying to get to know me through text. So if he wants to text, that's gonna be a no for me. Because I'm not going to be texting you. If you want to get to know, you're going to have to get on the phone and you're going to have to make some dates. So if it's a guy that he wants to communicate with through text, then he's not the man for me. And I'm not going to entertain him because what I'm looking for and what I need in my life is a man who knows how to get on that phone and have a brief conversation. You don't have to be on it all day because we're busy and he's busy. I'm busy. But if he thinks that if he wants to get to know me and text is his method, then I'm not the woman for him. So I'm not going to entertain anyone who wants to get to know me via text. That's one of my boundaries, one of my requirements, or whatever you want to call it. But texting, no, I'm not going to.
And before I know you said talk about your boundaries, but I was going to say, I asked my mama like the other day, like how, we talked about like the different generations of dating or whatever. And she said, that like people were used to, you got to know somebody through seeing them in person. Like didn't nobody, cause they had pagers, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you couldn't, didn't nobody put all that stuff on the internet either. So really you had to go and literally take people on dates, like the people don't do that no more. Like, so I think really you going back to that better era of dating, like literally where people, you had to take somebody on a date to get to know them. You got to see me to get to know me, not where you could text me because you could be texting me one thing, could be a whole different thing. So like that going on dates and really, seeing me, you got to take me out somewhere, take me somewhere nice, let's go experience stuff together. That's probably that better era of dating anyway. But I just want to throw that out there. Go ahead, Ashley.
I do. I'm sorry, Ashley. Okay. I had another thing that I wanted to say. Also, too, I'm not interested in just like starting out on dates. I don't want to do that either. I don't want to go out on dates right away. I would prefer for you to conversate with me until I feel like I have gotten to know you better before I decide to spend time with you. So for me going forward, dates is out for me. I don't want to go out on a date. Just say like we've been, chatting for a month or something like that. I still don't want to go out. Of course, I'm going to know what you look like because I'm not doing online dating. That's not my method either. I never do online dating again. So this will have to be somebody that I met in person, somebody I've been introduced to, or somebody I just, ran across, or however it be. But it definitely won't be online where I have to meet you for the first time, unless someone is introduce me to you. But what I'm saying as my boundary and how I'm going to move forward is that I want to talk first. I don't want to meet you and go out on a date first. I don't want to do just to see how we're vibing. I don't want to do that.
So are you open to FaceTiming somebody since we in an era of technology? That's at least seeing them, So are you open to like if they want to FaceTime all the time? I think you can do a lot with FaceTime because you can actually physically see somebody talking to you.
Yeah, but not right away.
Okay. So I guess I would say that I'm still learning what my boundaries are. I will give an example. So one thing that I have learned about boundaries. So of course, y'all know I'm talking to my friend, my guy friend, and it was a situation maybe about 2 months ago that we had where we just got into a little argument. And at that time, I didn't want to talk about it. He asked me a question. I was just like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. So usually when I say, hey, I don't want to talk about that right now, I don't want to talk about it right now. Not that I'm angry. Just that's my moment right there. Just like, let me think about it in a way. So I learned what his boundary was. His boundary, when I'm ready to talk about it now, which can be 10 or 15 minutes later, his is 2 days later. Oh. So I had to understand he didn't want to talk about it right then. And he actually told me, he's like, I need a few days to think about it. And I just had to respect that. So that's one boundary that I did learn is I have to give him a day or two, 3 at the most. For me, I need about 30 minutes after argument. Depending on what the argument is, let me say that. I need about 30 minutes. That's why I say it just depends on what the argument is about. Depending on what it is, 30 minutes to an hour. Let me go ride around, get some fresh air, come back, we can discuss it. But like I said, I have to understand that his boundary is about 2 or 3 days. So again, I'm still learning what my boundaries are, but I did recognize that is one boundary for me is don't come at me once I say I don't want to talk about something. So I guess that's a boundary. I'm yeah.
Well, put the seatbelts on. I'm gonna go there. I'm just playing off. No. I talked to y'all about my boundaries or whatever, and I've always been like this, probably will always be like this. One of my first boundaries, you cannot disturb my peace. Because I have found my peace, and that's doing a lot of self-reflecting when I was by myself, we're not really talking about it for real. You cannot disturb my peace. So when if I'm really talking to you, we really got to know each other, whatever. What I've basically experienced recently and all my experience and all that stuff. So my peace is important to me. If you feel like one day, I don't care we arguing or what, disturb my peace, that ain't what you want to do because we ain't gonna be talking no more. I don't take that. You ain't even finna poke at my peace, so we ain't even finna do that. So that's the first one. The second one is I do not like to be. Hold on. I do not like to be smothered. I love my space. I know. We talked about it in both of y'all didn't look at me too good when I said it, but
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. But I'm one of those. If we don't talk in a day or whatever, I'm cool with it. Like I'm not really tripping on it. I'll probably not think about it anyway. As long as we know what we got, like, we straight up with what we got or whatever. Don't smother me. If you don't text, the worst thing you can do to me is tell me why you ain't text me back. Because then I really ain't gonna text you back. Like, you cannot text me how quick I'm texting you. If you call me and I missed it, most of the time I'm busy. I don't know. Some people I let it ring, but most of the time, if I'm really talking to you, I'm busy. So if you tell me like why you answer the phone, I ain't finna answer the phone no more. Stuff like
you
that. Like,
sound real toxic, but I'm gonna be quiet. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
But yeah, like you cannot I need my space. That's just how I move. Like I'm one of those, like if I'm around you, I want to be around you. Trust me, you're gonna see that. But once I want to be by myself, trust me, I want to be by myself. I'm by myself for a reason. If I mean, I'm not one like, I'm big on communication, but I'm just not like, I ain't chokehold big on it. Like, I ain't finna, if you ain't texting me, unless it's like some weird amount of time, I'm probably not gonna be like, why you ain't texting me and stuff. That's just me. So yeah, you don't invade my space and don't mess with my peace. Let me think of something else.
Just live in a bubble, honey. Ain't that right, Tasha? Just tell them to live in a bubble. Go live in a bubble.
And like I tell y'all, it's not ideal for a lot of people. I get it.
Yeah.
People are definitely like mushy, lovey-dovey, want to be like held all the time, want to be talking to somebody every day. I'm sorry, I'm not just one of those. And which, some people actually, go ahead, Ashley, because go ahead.
I had to jump in on this because I didn't even think about that. And that's my main thing as a boundary is, I don't even know if it's a boundary, but I get it though. I agree with you. I'm not really the smothery, and I want to say smothery.
I want to say
physical. Y'all know physical touch isn't one of my top love languages.
Yeah.
So I think a boundary for me is actually like space on the couch too. Not saying we can't cuddle. We can cuddle for about 5 minutes, probably not even that long, and then separate. I can put my feet on you, like how you separate on the couch, but I can put my feet on you. You put your feet on me. I loved it. But under the cover, holding me, your arm around me, just don't touch me, please. Don't touch me, please. And no, nothing happened. All this stuff. This is not a. See, I get hot. And also too, yes, it is nice. Y'all know my friend that I'm talking to. We text every day, and that's something that I didn't know that I needed. It's nice to know, but it also puts us in a place of that we do. I think that he likes and that I like is we don't see each other all the time. I love missing people. I don't know why. I love that feeling. I love not seeing you and, for a week or so. It sounds so crazy. And I think a lot of guys may not be into that. Maybe they are. I don't know. But I think normally when I tell guys that, it's kind of like this, oh, what you doing? You must be doing something. No, I really want to miss you. I want to miss you. Like, yes, go hang out with your friends. Go do whatever. Now, that doesn't mean go free and go sleep with everybody. That just means I need some space, some space from each other.
You want somebody? You said,
oh no. Oh no. Don't go be. But yeah, boundaries and understanding that we don't have to see each other every day or do something every day. It's just, I want to miss you. I want to, when you open the door, I'm like, oh, I ain't see you. It's just a good feeling. So I guess that's considered a boundary, just not seeing each other every day of the hour. Cause I get bored fast, really fast. That's one thing I have learned about myself. And I had to say, it's okay. I get bored with people. So by me not seeing you all the time, we have so much to talk about now, or we have so much to do now versus when I'm seeing you every day, we're doing the same stuff. I get bored.
Yeah.
I get really, really bored.
Ever want to get married?
I thought we were talking about boundaries. I'm just playing.
That was a big one. She asked that big question right there. Ask me next.
I cannot say yes or no. I will say in this realm of life, right now, no. Marriage is just not for me right now.
Okay.
Me
and that's
either.
wrong with it. One thing that I'll share with you guys, and I'm sure I've shared this before, is that I've always wanted to be a mother, and I've always wanted to be a wife. And so that ever since I was little and I would play house, those were two things that I always wanted to be. So I've been both, but I'm just saying that's just two of the things that I've always wanted to be.
Yeah, and I pray that you get. I pray that you get.
No, I am.
Yeah, I was. I pray that you get that.
He's out there.
Yeah.
And it's actually hard saying that, because I do think society paints women as wives and mothers, and I think when I say it to certain people, it's like, what? You don't want to be married? What? You ain't got no kids? You don't want no kids? It's just like right now, it's just not the time. Like, I'm going to say this, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's just not something that I think about. Like, yes, I look at wedding dresses, but it's not something like, oh my God, I got to be married. It is what it is, I guess.
When I probably got about, oh gosh, let me not tell my age. I thought I probably told
we already know you're 25. It don't matter.
Right.
We know you're 25. What you had? It don't matter.
Well,
exactly.
Okay, well, let me go back to 25. But I think I started to want to be married around about 26, 27. I got married at 30. But yeah,
that's what you wanted. I'm sorry. And I always say, I love to see love, but I definitely don't see myself in it. Yeah, I love to see it. Like, I love to see, especially Black love. I love to see married. I love people. I see people proposing. It warms my heart. But do I ever be like, oh, that's me? That ain't even a thought in my mind. I literally would like to see it.
And I agree. Love to see that is. I'm glad you said that because I do think, as a single woman, I don't know why I always have this feeling, if I say that I don't want to be married, that people think that I'm not happy about other people getting married. And I am. If that's what you truly want to do, if you want to be married, be married. I'm happy. Like, that is what you want to do. The same way if I don't want to be married, you know what I'm saying? It's the same. But I love seeing people get married. I love seeing people find their true love. Like, I love it. It's just marriage right now is not for me, but I love it. I love seeing it. I love going to weddings too. So
wait, man, before y'all, I want to add this one last boundary. I'm sorry. If I tell you I don't like something, please don't do it again. Like, I told like, it's so crazy. This, like, when I literally, if somebody do this, as I tell you about it all the time, telling me that, come here, I be about to throw up. If I tell you I don't like that, do not do that again, please.
No, say it like how you say
you to come here.
They be like, they be like, come here. I be about to. No, I hate that. It's so it's cringe. Like, it's like that. It just give me like that mushy vibe. I don't know if you understand. It just be like, literally, if you somebody tell me that, and I just be looking like, and I literally, that'll be it. It'll make me look at you. I can't stand stuff like that, bro.
Oh, you know how
it made me a
I don't know if you know how some women would be like, come here. Tasha looking so like, bad. Nah, I don't know.
Don't do that. I'm a magnet. They just automatically be like.
But that's it though, man. Like, if I tell you I don't like something, please don't do it again. Because first, I'm gonna think you're not listening to me, and secondly, I think you just want me to stop talking to you. I think you're doing it on purpose. That's it.
Wow, you guys have so many boundaries. You guys might as well play. Might as well do karate. Like,
I'm telling you, you gotta set down boundaries, set down rules. And I always say, if my boundaries lead me to just be whatever, I'm just gonna be whatever. Because if I'm not, some stuff I'm just not willing to compromise and sacrifice, because I'm gonna get in something and not be happy. I won't do nobody like that. I won't sit there and accept this stuff, because I won't, eventually it's gonna, that that facade of like it's good right now and I'm just compromised, it's gonna fall. Like you eventually gonna crack under that. Like if you don't really like something, don't sit there and be compromising for it because it's gonna show. If you truly do not like something, it's gonna show. Like you can't sit there and pretend for
Eventually,
so long.
so
Yeah, it ain't
that
no
is so
point even
true.
trying. Like you tell somebody first. I mean, if they slip up one time, that's one thing. But if somebody just stuck in this way and you don't like something, just ain't no point. I'm telling you, you're gonna be unhappy. Yeah.
Right.
No way.
You said it because I know me. I'll start detaching. I'll start detaching mentally. Like I'll be in my head. I will say stuff. I'll say, okay, now I'll be like, you know, you're gonna have to go on and break up with him.
Right.
Like, okay, you know this is gonna come to an end.
Right.
I'll be like, you got to figure out it's time to end. It's like when we're gonna do it. You know, I'm talking to myself like, okay.
That's what I was telling one of my guy friends, that women tend to detach mentally, like because I'm still talking to you, because I'm still having sex with you, because I'm still around, that doesn't mean I want to be with you. In the same way, I guess with guys, like because you're around or I'm showing some type of interest doesn't mean I want to be with you. But specifically women, most women, we detach mentally. Like, I'm here physically, but I know this not going to work out. So
and then the next it's like, and I think for me, once I start to detach, then I look at you so differently. It's like where I was looking at you in a good way. Now it's just like I'm kind of almost like, ugh. And so then I know, okay, that's good. Now you can still hurt from it. You can still be like kind of. I say I whine. I got to whine it out, and but once I whine, I'll give myself a little time to do it, and then once I get through whining, then the next thing you know, out of nowhere, once I stop, that's it. I mean, like I don't. It's just like it'll just happen out of nowhere. It'll just be like I'll be whining about it because I had to do it, or whatever. And the next thing you know, it'll just go.
And that's the worst type of.
It's like I'm back to myself, and it's like I'm just like, boop. I'm back.
And that's the worst type of. It actually do not feel good to have to do somebody like that where you don't like them no more, but you know y'all been having this thing going on for a good little amount of time, so you just not gonna constantly just drop it in that day. But it really do not feel good to just sit there with somebody, label somebody you really do not like, or they've been irritating you so bad where you can't even really show your full affection because of what they've been doing, been bothering you so much. So it really don't even feel good. That's why I say I won't get in those situations at all. If you start doing that stuff I don't like, I'm gonna go on here and just either I'm gonna, like Miss Tata say, nip it in the bud.
Right.
Go ahead and nip that in the bud.
Nip it in the bud, or I'm gonna just
And I'll say this. Let me say this. It just depends on like the person and how much I like them or whatever. Whether I've been knowing them for years or things like that. It kind of depends on that too. Because I tell you now, just in regular dating things, oh my gosh, I will dismiss you in a minute. And not to be ugly or anything. It's just that I have a low tolerance. You got to in order for me to give you any chance, I'm gonna have to really like you, and then have to be able to kind of detach. But if I'm just kind of okay with you, and I'll give you the boot real fast because I haven't invested, so I don't really care. But if you've got into the heart of me, then it's gonna take a minute. But I promise, not when I get through, you gonna know it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's
going back to the detachment part, because I think this isn't a boundary. I think it's a standard or an expectation. Let me say that. For a guy to like me, you have to like me. So what I'm learning is, just like I said, I can detach mentally. Like I'm around, that doesn't mean I don't like you. I have to learn to go ahead and just physically remove myself as well, because I don't like you anymore. So if I have that expectation, I have to act on it too. Like if I don't like you anymore, I just need to stop talking to you because I want my guy to like me. You have to like me. Like if you don't like me anymore, then you can go. It's like a free country, and I'm okay. So that's just one thing I'm learning too. Like you have to like the person. You have to like them.
And then I feel like this, if I don't like you, I promise you, I'm not going to give you no time. Like if I don't see myself being with you, you're not going to get next to me.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, now, once I see myself liking you, then I will give you all access to me. And which I probably need to pull some of that back, but it will only be for that person that I really like.
Yeah.
Because whereas I won't let other people have access to me, I will let my person have access. But now, if you do something and you mess that access up, then that's just a whole nother thing. Because I promise you, I can cut that off too. So that's pretty much how I just don't open myself up. And I'm not one of these women who's gonna have, everybody just have access to me. Like I don't do that. But if my person, then I will allow, that's a privilege to have access to me, And I think that's what I want men to know when they're dealing with certain women, that when women do give them access, baby, it's not because you are that great. It's just because they really like you. Because if I don't like you, you're not going to have that, So don't think that you then came with this strong pimp line. No, I just like you.
Okay.
And I always say I'm fair enough to, if I'm like, if I feel like I'm on that way of detaching you because you didn't cross my boundaries or whatever, I'm pretty sure that I didn't try to give you the benefit of the doubt already. I'm pretty sure I told you like I don't like this, and I'd have tried. Like if you did it at one time, I probably was like, okay, I don't like that for real, or we didn't got into it over that. So if you're not taking notes off of that, then you pretty much should expect me to detach, right? Like you got to expect that's what's next.
Absolutely.
You can't expect somebody to have 100 chances. If somebody tell you they don't like something, then you just sitting there constantly still doing something. You got to expect that to be the next thing. Like you got to expect somebody to like you that much less every time you do it again. So I don't know. It seems like I always say, sound like an easy concept, but not easy to everybody. So
right, that's true.
I don't know. But yeah, as we always do, we're going to end our episode with some positive, motivational, or whatever remarks. And I guess I'm gonna start it off. And I want to draw mine from this. I saw this TikTok. I'm pretty sure y'all ain't seen it, but I think I talked to my mom about it. But anyway, it was this. They do these little videos where they go down the line, and then it'd be like a girl. She'll go down and be like, she want to match with this dude. So she'd be asking the stuff. And this girl asked him, she was like, so she was like, how old you is, all this. And she said, he was like, I'm 22. She was like, where you work at? He was like, he work at, I don't know, he said Farmer Mill or something. And the dude, and everybody in the background laughed. And it was weird to me. And the comments actually agreed. They were like, so why are you laughing at somebody at 22 that he got a job? That should be good enough, right? And I think the problem is that people looking at these influencers, rappers, and all this at the age of 22 and thinking you compare yourself to them. So it's supposed to be funny to, have a regular job because you see everybody else doing it. So my advice would be, if you are, no matter what age you are, no matter where you're working at, stop comparing yourself to people online. Stop comparing yourself to people, even if it be family or whatever. Don't compare yourself. You got a job, you're making a living, you got shelter, and you trying your hardest, you're doing enough. I don't understand why somebody would laugh at it or think that's a joke. But yeah, you're doing enough. If you're working and stuff, stop comparing yourself to people. You are working at your own pace. If you're trying to get to somewhere big, it's going to come to you when they come to you. Do not compare yourself to people. So you are doing enough. That's all I want to say. So whoever else.
Awesome.
Right. So what I would like to say in my closing remark is to just always seek God in everything that you do, whether it's when you are, seeking friendship, relationships, whether it's going for a promotion or changing jobs. Always ask God, what you should do in a matter. And that's one of the things that I started my day off this morning with, just asking God, to guide me and to give me the words to say, even for my podcast. I just want to make sure that every day that I am doing what God wants me to do, no matter how I feel, or just always listen to him. And so I encourage everybody to, if you do not have a prayer life, get a prayer life. Speak to God, talk to him like you're talking. as I've told y'all in another episode, I always go in my closet. It's just like I'm going over to, you know, like if I'm visiting a friend, once I get in a closet, I know that I am about to be in the presence of God. So that's how I treat it. And so I'm having my daily conversations now, whereas I'm listening and asking him, you know, how you want me to move today? You know, let me be a blessing to somebody. So those are the things that I'm doing each and every day. I'm trying to ask him for everything I need because I don't want to ever be out of his will again.
Yes. Amen. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Kiss the Holy Ghost.
I know, right?
Amen.
Let me not play like this. Go ahead. But
So,
amen, though.
I'm trying to think. I think I want my message to be do what you want to do. Even if it sounds crazy to people. I think this, you know, with us starting the podcast, is giving me more confidence in who I am, the way that I look. And also my best friend sees it too. She, you know, she wanted to branch out and do something. And she was like, hey, if Ashley, who's really private and don't show no face, and she know I don't post pictures, I don't like nobody knowing nothing about me, can get on, start a podcast, you know, with my coworkers, show my face. And she knows I love good debates and talking about things that are really deep and stuff that impacts our community. If I can get up and do this, she can do the same. So find something that encourages you, whatever it is, talk to whoever you need to talk to, and do what you want to do. Stop waiting around. And usually when I hear stuff like that, it is so funny when I would see people say that on Instagram or Snapchat. I just like, oh, it's the same message. But now I see, since I started since we started the podcast, it's like, okay, now I see what they're talking about. If you just go ahead and do it, it just doesn't matter at this point. I'm learning how to talk better. So I know I sound a little country on here, but I'm from the country. It's just, you know, I can't help it. Now, if I'm in an interview, I know how to switch it up. So let's be clear. I am very well educated. But this is how I talk. But I had to be okay with it because this is who I am. So be you, do what you want to do. It's life. Just go out, do whatever you want to do. That's my message. Be careful, but do whatever you want to
do. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I guess I was out because I started. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, join the conversation in the comments. We want to hear from you. And I'm going to end this episode like a fellow bus driver with an uppercut. I'm just.
You going to jail? You going to jail now?
Oh, I'm just playing. But yeah, thank you for watching. See you next time.
Bye.